Okay, so let's share my screen. Okay, so what we'll do today, let me just go ahead and quickly create the EFS file system, and then we'll see how we can attach those file systems. Before that, let me just start these two servers. I'll just do the demo attaching the file system into the two servers. Okay, so let me quickly start this. Let it start. By the time it will just running, I'll just go to the Elastic file system, EFS. Okay, EFS, and there I'll create the file system. Go and create the file system. Just I'll just give us my EFS, and I'm going to use the default one, and let's use the standard one to create. Okay, not the one zone one, simply standard. And as soon as you click, you will see here it will start creating it. Okay, and it is now available. You can see here it is now available, and the total size is 6 KB. As the nature of the EFS is elastic, right? It will automatically grow and sync based on your requirement, based on your usage. So the file system is created now and it is available. So what I need this file system. If I go and just open this file system, you'll see one thing here. 1 second. If I go to the network, right, and you can see here 3 availability zone is being added. As I selected the standard one, right, it will be added to the multi availability zone, and the mount target is still creating. The mount target is still creating. Let it be created. So 1 second. I need policy is not required. Okay, so what do you need? This as this file system, right? This file system is created by default. It will be under the default security. This will go to the default security group. So what we have to do, let's go to the EC2, and there you have to add or whitelist the NFS protocol. Okay, so where we have to whitelist, go to your security group. Let's go to the security group where it is, security groups, and find it out the default one. So this is the default security group of the VPC, right? So what we need to just modify this one. Go to our inbound rule, edit inbound rules, and here we have only MySQL Aurora was given. It's not required though. We can delete it. Okay, and by default is given all traffic and all, right? So what I can do here, just add rules and select the NFS protocol. You can go down or you can search it over here, NFS protocol. And remember, you may get questions, what protocol you should whitelist in order to access the Elastic file system. Okay, you may get questions that the port number is 2049. So you have to whitelist this one. And what you have to do further, you have to add the security group which has been added to the EC2 instances. Okay, so how you will know which security group has been added to the EC2 instances? Let's go to the EC2 instance, those respective EC2 instance which you want to add the file system. Okay, so what I'll do here, go instances running, both the instances running. So let me see what is given here. So the security group, go to the security, and it is given as lamp-sg. And what about this one? Go to the security, and it is also given lamp-sg. So same security group has been given to both EC2 instances. Okay, so what we have to do here, select the security group of lamp-sg. So if I go here down, I'll find lamp-sg there, right? So I just whitelisted for this security group of port 2049. Okay, now save the rules. Okay, now, right, we have to whitelist the port 2049 and allow access to this port, this security group LAMP SG, as this security group has been added to those EC2 instances which we want to add the file system. Suppose you have another server and which is having the file system of launch wizard or something Windows SE or some other security group. So what you have to do, you have to add another security group to that whitelisted list. Okay. Now what we have to do, let's go to the EC2 instances, get the IP address, okay, of any one of the servers. Suppose Jenkins server I'm getting. Copy this one. Guys, please go mute if you are not speaking. Let's go mute. Okay. Hello. Okay, 1 second. Okay. So what we'll do here, as I said, we have to first install one Amazon utils, right? EFS utils in order to access the EFS file system. So what we have to do first, let's go ahead and install the Amazon utils. So what I'll do now, let's quickly go. I'll just open this file system. 1 second. I need this command, so I'm just going for the file system. Okay. So we need this Amazon EFS utils to be installed first. Okay, Amazon EFS utils to be installed. So make sure that is installed. If I go here and check for this, so we have to use sudo yum, right? Sudo yum install Amazon EFS utils. Utils, I think, yes. I'm sorry. So I just tried this on my terminal, so in MacBook, so it will not work on MacBook, right? So what I'll do, let me first log into the system, right? I need to log into the system. Type an I. Switcher hyphen user. What it says? Permission denied. So this is Amazon Linux, right? Or this is the Ubuntu one, sorry. This is the Ubuntu one. So we have to use the user as Ubuntu. Okay. Sure. So for Ubuntu, we have to use sudo apt install Amazon, okay, EFS utils. Maybe for Ubuntu is not there. Let's connect to SSH hyphen I. Downloads. Switcher hyphen user at the rate. Let me quickly install sudo yum install yes some users. Two packages extra due to repository already installed. Okay, so this is already installed. In our last class, I think we had installed. So what we have to do once it is installed, okay, this is must, this utils command must for the EFS to work. So what we have to do now, just go to the EFS, okay, go to the EFS and try to use the mount options there. Okay, so what I'll do, select this one. You can see here attach option is there, and we have options like mount via DNS and all. So what I'll do, just copy this statement. Okay, just copy this one, go ahead and just paste it here. Okay, so instead of EFS, I'll just give as home EC2 hyphen user. Okay, hit enter, and this EFS ID should be there, right? EFS ID must. So you if you remember this command, okay, that's okay, but you must have to provide this EFS ID. If you don't remember, it's okay, you can just go ahead and click on the attach. It will give you the options, and with the EFS ID, the exact command you have to get it. If you don't, if you remember this command, so you can simply copy the this one, your EFS ID, right? Just copy the EFS ID and put into the command. So now what we can do here, we can see it's being added, it is being mounted. Okay, so if I can just go to this home EC2 user, right? The file system is being added now. So what I can do here, if I do, let's go here, and if I just use df-h, see, and this is the file system which we just created. This is the file system which we just created, home EC2 hyphen user. So whatever file, whatever the size file you want to put it, you can just put in these areas. Okay, it will just grow as you need, and a number of files or number of sizes, if you want to put it, you can put in this folder. Okay, and if you just add it in this folder, right? If I just go ahead and create one more EC2 instances, okay, if I go ahead and create one more EC2 instances and I just want to attach that on, you can still attach and that will be reflected. Okay, let me quickly just do the same demo. I'll just get another machine, okay, from a different account. Okay, AWS. I'll just quickly get another machine from a different account, and then I'll just try to add this. Okay, so quickly I'll just go ahead and switch on one more machine. Start. So what I'll do now, the same file system, okay, the same file system I'm just going to attach here. Let's see whether we can do that or not. Okay, just give me a few seconds, let it run fully, and then we'll just first we have to install the EFS util, right? I mentioned EFS utils. Let's get IP address. What is happening? Downloads. What is happening? 1 second, guys. So let's check the logs. Okay, why we're not able to connect. Action, monitor troublesome, get system log. Okay, it means system is not fully working actually. Okay, that's why I'm not able to connect the system. 1 second. The same certificate it is corrupted. I seems it's not able to connect. Okay, that's fine. So what we can do, simply whatever I showed you, right? Just use that EFS util, and for Ubuntu, for CentOS, and search for the Google, right, for EFS file system, what exactly the utils you need to install in order to access the file system. So just try at home to try to what I just showed you, right? If you go here, I just put a file. Suppose I'll put a file in this folder, home EC2 user, right? In the directory, suppose I'll just create nothing will be there now. Okay, suppose whatever things available on this file system, okay, if I just connect to any of the server, and you'll see that server will have exactly the same content available. Okay, let me see if this one is the, this is also a merchant machine. Let me see if I can connect to this machine as well. So I'm just trying to show you the demo. The same things will be available for that. Every machine, whatever you add, it will be available. Okay. So let's just wait for a few seconds. experiment has not been made. Let me log into this machine if I can. If there is no issues, then you can connect to this machine. SSH-I. Okay, so we can able to connect this machine. Maybe that machine was corrupted, so it's not able to connect. Fine. So what I can do here, let me just quickly install this one. Sudo yum install a machine EFS utils icon. Yes. Okay, so it is installed now. So what I need simple get this option, right? Attach, copy these things. Okay, go to here and suppose I want this one to be the same home directory. I want to make us the file system home situ hyphen user. Okay, hit enter. The file system mount target IP address cannot be found. Please pass mount target IP address via mount option. The file system is not found. So what happened here? I just gave this file system, but this file system is not available in this account. The file system is not available in this account. That is why it is giving error. Like says the mount target IP address, this file system is not found. Now you need to know that file system is region specific. If you can see, go here and it is being added to the file system, and which region it is being added into the Mumbai region. So what we can do here, replicate the file system to additional AWS region here. Okay, if you want to additional AWS region, what we can do is we can create a replication first. You have to create a replication first, then we can go ahead and use that one. Okay, so for creating replication, remember you have to think about the cost. It will charge you more if you are going to put into a different region. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, suppose I want to put into some Singapore region. Select the Singapore region, same standard, and what it will do, it will create another set of replications in the Singapore region with the same number of availability zone. Okay, so be careful with whenever you are doing any kind of demo, because it will charge you more if you are creating multi-region, replicating the file system into the multiple regions. Okay, and remember it is account specific, and if you have to different servers in the different account, you cannot do that one. So what you have to do instead, there is another options where you can add the file system to different account also. Okay, I'll just show you here. If I go to the access points, right, you have to select create access point and access point name and root direct path, and you have to provide the user ID and all these options. You have to go through this, and you have to provide all owner user ID. Okay, who is the user ID? Like our user ID will be like our account ID, right? You have to provide your account ID and just go through this one, and you'll get access. Okay, so there is lots of things you have to do in the file system, but the basic concept of using file system is to whenever you need, and you know another point is to you don't have to use the auto scaling in case of EFS, because it will be automatically scale up and scale down based on your requirement. Okay, so this all about the file systems, and we'll have a separate demo on the file system, and the AWS backups will do it. Okay, you just try at home, create 2 separate machines and try to set off the file system in one machine and put all the files, whatever the file you want to put it, and same file system try to attach to another machine and see whether those file system, whatever you add in machine A is reflecting on machine B, and whatever things you are adding on machine B should also get reflected on machine A. Just try this task at home and we'll discuss further on that. Okay. So that's all about this file systems and all. What we'll do now, we'll discuss about the database concept. Okay, and so far we have not covered any database things, and AWS provides RDS, relational database services, and it has almost around 6 database engines which you can use for your database. Okay, so what exactly this RDS and how we can use it? Okay, apart from this RDS also, it provides different it provides different databases like SQL databases, NoSQL databases, right? Like Amazon Aurora and all these things, DynamoDB. So those are databases which are very useful. So first, what we'll discuss about, we'll consider and think about the RDS first, relational database. Then we'll go to the DynamoDB, and DynamoDB is actually NoSQL database which is being provided by the Amazon. Okay, so what RDS, before going to know and going to practice the RDS any database, so we should understand what kind of services being provided by AWS. Okay, so let me stop these 2 services unnecessary to be running. Okay, so what is RDS? RDS is the Amazon Relational Database Service, or we can say Amazon RDS or simple RDS, Relational Database Service. It's a web service that makes it easier to set up. So whatever the services we have launched so far with respect to AWS, right? All are web-based service only, right? There is no desktop application or there is no standalone application. Everything is web-based applications, okay, or web-based service. So it is a web-based service that makes it easier to set up, operate, and scale a relational database in the AWS cloud. It provides cost-efficient, resizable capacity for an industry standard relational database and manages common database administration tasks. So, as it is a managed service being provided by RDS, Amazon RDS, you can do the database administration tasks by yourselves. So Amazon will not do for you. The infrastructure stops. The infrastructure managing part, the database managing part will be done by AWS. But the rest of the things, once you get that service, the rest of the things, starting from administration and creating schema and creating all those stuffs for your requirement, you have to handle it. Okay. So, as I said, every time in my classes, right, whenever you are learning something, best practice is to follow their documentations. Okay, because their documentations is having more concept than whatever we are learning. Suppose if I go to the DB instance overview here, let me just go through here. They will have all the options. See, RDS instances, what exactly they're providing. So what is this Amazon RDS DB instances? So whenever we are talking, okay, let's talk about this DB instance and these things later. First, let's cover the basics things and let's cover the overview on the RDS. Then we'll come to this DB instances and we'll learn all these things. Okay. Now what you'll see here. Okay. And you can see here, this diagram, if you see here, Amazon Aurora, it provides, as I said, around six
database services and Amazon Aurora database engines. Okay, Amazon Aurora, their default, if you see here, they provides the default database engine. Amazon Aurora being provided, and MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, right, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL Server. These are the database engine being provided by the AWS or Amazon RDS service. Okay, and you might be heard about this MySQL and MariaDB is being merged, and MariaDB is now is whenever you install MySQL engine, so it will being reflected as MariaDB. Okay, so MariaDB and MySQL is combined together and it's become one only. Now, so what we'll see about RDS has two key features. One is the multi-AZ for disaster recovery, and other one will be read replica for performance. Okay, so whenever we talk about database, that is the core part of our any organization, right? Database. So without database, it is impossible to run any kind of business or any kind of application or product. So whenever you are using the database, you should always think about these two key features, like for disaster recovery, how we will set up in case of any disaster happen, our database will be still available by using multi-availability zone, and how we'll use this read replica for faster performance of our database. So faster performance means whenever our application grows, right, we get more customer, the number of input outputs to the database will increase accordingly, right? So what we'll do, we need more performance. We need, whenever a customer needs a data, it should be high retrieval performance. The customer can retrieve data or insert data to the database very quickly. So that we'll learn how we can use read replica to increase the performance of our database. Okay, so now for multi-AZ, we can see here we have, suppose, one database, as we say, and we create the RDS endpoint through EC2. Suppose we connected to the database endpoint, and we have selected two things. It's very simple. If one is closed down, we'll have still another database available. That is the diagram is given here. And here, a simple versus SQL and NoSQL databases. I think I hope you guys are aware about that. What is SQL and what is NoSQL? What is SQL and what is NoSQL? I'm not going to cover this part, and it's very simple. You get this versus of NoSQL and what is being used. Okay. There are a few points you have to remember. That is, RDS runs on a virtual machines. Whenever we create a database, and behind, actually it will create a virtual machine, and it will install the database for you, and that will be managed by AWS. You cannot see what is happening in the background. Okay, so you will only use the database, but whatever is being used, the virtual machines and the networks and everything will be managed by AWS. So you cannot log into this operating system. As I said, it's being managed by AWS. As the database is being installed on those particular virtual means, we cannot log into the operating systems on whatever being used for the database to run or host, right? Patching of RDS OS and DB is Amazon's responsibility. So they will manage the RDS OS and DB. So they will charge accordingly. If you're going for any patching or any upgradations of OS or DB functionality, it will be taken care by Amazon. Okay, so RDS is not serverless, but Aurora is. That means, as we saw, we have these 6 popular database engines, relational database engines. So these 5 are server based. We need a server, but Amazon Aurora is a serverless database. Okay, Amazon Aurora is serverless. That means it uses Lambda functions and different other techniques to become a serverless database. And There are two different types of backup in RDS. So whenever we talk about data, backup is must. Okay. So there are two options in database backup, like automated backup. We can take automated backup and automatically is being taken care by the AWS to take the backups. And the other one is the database snapshots, right? So the snapshots we have learned in our EC2 volumes, right? How to take the snapshot. The similar way in the database also, we have a snapshot to take a backup of your data. Okay, so we'll learn how this snapshots being taken and where we can take. Just remember, guys, in case you're going for any interviews on RDS part or database, they might ask you about the databases and they might ask you these key features of how to increase the performance of a database. You can use by read replica, we can increase the performance of database. Okay, and they may ask about the disaster recovery things. You have to explain how disaster recovery works. Okay, also what type of backups are available for RDS, or what are the backups Amazon being provided. So you can just automated backup and database snapshots. So in case of automated backup, okay, in case of automated backup, what happens? Automated backups allows you to recover database to any point in time within a retention period, and the retention period can be between 1 and 35 days. Obviously, whenever we take any backup, we need to set up a retention period. That means how long you want to keep those data or records safe. And after 30 days, suppose you don't need those data, so you can delete it. Or there also options are there, like we have launched our storage sections, right? In our storage classes, we have different storage classes. We can store those snapshots in the different storage areas, right? Suppose we can store in a cold storage. We can archive those databases for our future reference. Instead of 35 days, suppose that could be a question, guys. Remember, the retention period is up to 35 days only, 1 to 35. 1 and 35, not beyond 35 days. So what you can do, if you need beyond 35 days, you have to archive it. Okay, you have to archive it. So automated backups will take a full daily snapshot and will also store transactions log throughout the day. When we do a recovery, AWS will first choose the recent daily backup. So when we choose for recovery, remember, AWS will do the recovery for you. You don't have to worry about anything. So it will be automatically done, and that AWS will choose the first recent daily backup. Suppose in a day we have set up the backups to be taken, suppose 3 times, or taken 10 times a day, and the recent suppose taken just 1 hour before, and if there is any disaster happen or anything happen, you want to recover it, right? So it will take the recent last backup and do that, and then apply transactions logs relevant to that day. This allows us to do point in time recovery down to second within the retention period. Automated backups are enabled by default. Okay, it is by default. Whenever you create or use the RDS service, automatically it will be activated. The backup data is stored in S3. As I told, we can use cold storage, we can use Glacier, we can use different kind of other like infrequently access, right? So those things you should remember, right? Whenever you are going to use the services, you should remember where to store the data and what is the usage of those data and how you want to treat the data. That you should know that, and then you have to choose the appropriate storage classes. Okay, and you get free storage space equal to the size of your database. So if you have RDS instance of 10 GB, you'll get 10 GB worth of storage data free. Okay, so that's why you'll get free storage of
if your instance size is 10 GB, then 10 GB of data what storage is free. That means only you have to pay for RDS instance of 10 GB. Okay, only 10 GB storage you pay, and the storage will be 10 GB free. So backup are taken within a defined window. During the backup window, storage IP may be suspended while your data is being backed up, and you may experience some latency. That is very important, guys, to remember. Okay, backups are taken within a defined window. So we have to set up or select the windows when do you want to take the backups. And within that period, if there are any transaction happens, right? So you'll face some slowness. There will be some latency will be there because the storage IP, what it says, the storage IP input, IP may be suspended while your data is being backed up. Okay, so mostly database backed up. We'll see the demo, right? All this retention period, backup windows, and everything we'll see. So now is the database snapshot. And what is this database snapshot? That DB snapshots are done manually. They are stored even after you delete the original RDS instance, unlike automated backup. So automated backup is most crucial whenever you need any kind of recovery, point in time recovery. That will be useful for point in time recovery. Okay, in case any disaster happen, in case any accidental deletion happen, and you want your customer data to be recovered quickly as soon as possible, right? We can easily get it from the automated backup. But snapshot is totally different. In case your total database got deleted, anything happened, you want to take it back from the snapshot, so you can use this backup database snapshot to create and set up another data, similar databases with the data is available, right? So database snapshots are done manually. They're stored even after you delete the original RDS instance, unlike automated backup. So we can take the snapshot and store it somewhere. Even though you delete the RDS instance, it will be still there and you can use it. Okay, that's about this database snapshot and automated backup and snapshot. You get any questions and what is the difference between the automated backup and the snapshot? You can ask questions. Okay, and restoring the backup, it will be quite easy, right? And whenever we see about the RDS endpoints, right? These are called RDS endpoint. We'll learn more whenever we do practical, right? We'll see what kind of RDS endpoint is look like. Okay, so what it says, whenever you restore either an automatic backup or manual snapshot, the restored version of the database will be a new RDS instance with a new DNS endpoint. So how will connect? There will be questions. How will connect to a RDS instance? By using the RDS endpoint. Okay, by using the RDS endpoint. Without that endpoint, we cannot access the database. So whenever we create a database, first it will be created as original dot the region name, which region you have created, and rds.amazonaws.com. That is the primary databases. Okay, original databases. And if you want to restore the databases, in case of a backup or a snapshot, you want to restore it, the database RDS endpoint will get changed. And here is the tricky things. If most of you, I think not aware about that, whenever a disaster happens, when we go for restoring, right, we have to redirect our API to the different endpoint, right? Suppose, as I said, the original endpoint will start with the original dot, and the restored, the restored RDS endpoint will be started with restored. Suppose our primary APIs are pointing to this endpoint. After the restore happens,
If we don't change it, it will still reflecting to the original and which will cause the problem, right? So we have to modify, or we have to keep the automations in place. In case of any restoring happens, we have to immediately switch back the APIs or applications to point to this particular restored RDS endpoint. So you have to relate all these stops. Okay. So if you are specifically working on the database side, then you have to focus on more on just do R&D and do exercise more on this RDS part. Okay. That's all about this backup things. Now we'll see. Okay, this backup things. Now we'll see. We learned about this multi-AZ and all. Okay. So what we'll do, this multi-AZ and all, maybe we'll cover tomorrow. So let's go ahead and do a practice. Okay, lab. So what we'll do, and this multi-AZ disaster recovery and read replica for faster performance, these things we are going to learn tomorrow. Okay, before that, let me just go ahead and create a database by using this RDS endpoint. Let's see how we can access the database. Okay. 1 second. Let me go through this down. Fine. What we'll do here, let's go down. Okay. Before going that, let's understand what is this RDS DB instance. So we would learn about the databases things and what are the features and what are the type of backups and all these things are on there, and what is the uses, and what is this DB instance. How many DB instances we can create? What will be the size? Okay, what will be the users? Like all these things we should at least know. What is DB instance? It is an isolated database environment running in the cloud. It is the basic building block of Amazon RDS. So whenever you use AWS service to create any database, so you are going to create a DB instance first. And this DB instance, what we can do, DB instances are simple to create and modify with Amazon AWS command line tools, RDS API operation or management console. Okay, so if you see here, sorry, you can have up to 40 Amazon RDS instances with following limitations. You have to remember these limitations. Remember, we can have up to 40 Amazon RDS DB instances, 10 for each SQL Server edition, either enterprise, standard, or web or express, under the license included. And you have to pay for that. Remember, it's not free. Okay. 10 for Oracle under license included model, 40 for MySQL, MariaDB, and PostgreSQL, 40 for Oracle under bring your own license, that is BYOL licensing model. So these are the limitations being used 40 RDS instances. Okay. And what it says here, there are lots of things are there. Actually, I'm not going to read this documentations. You can easily go that. Let me just copy paste and you can keep it handy. And if you're going to learn more on the database stuff, and I would suggest you just go there and do practice. Okay, I'll just put into the chat. You can copy this and do a bookmark so that okay. So there are lots of things we are going to learn here, and what it says, I'll just go through a little bit little topics, and then I'll leave on you to go through. Okay. So each DB instances has a DB instance identifier, and this is a customer supplied name. This one, and this identifier is used part of the DNS host name allocated to your DB instance address. Okay. So we'll see how we can just create this one, DB1 and DB2. Okay. And there are DB instance classes also there. If you want to see the classes, we have different classes of DB. So DB M6G general purpose instance, all these classes are there. Like we create the instances like T2 micro, T2 nano, M6, M large, like lots of instances we create, right? As I said, it will create a virtual machine, right? If you're going to create a DB instance, it will create a machine, and that machine, it will install the database engine, right? So that's why it is being used that these are the DB instances. Following are the general purpose DB instances available. Okay, there are lots more DB instances available with specific versions of for MariaDB. These are the versions, okay, and instance classes, all these instance classes. Okay, so if you are going to use these RDSs, you should know what are the instance classes, what are the sizes and all. So all these things are quite available here. And to know about the pricing, you can just go for Amazon RDS pricing here to understand what exactly the pricing and all. So see, for different engine, they have different pricing. Okay, so here they have given AWS. It comes actually AWS free tier, but you can see here 750 hours of Amazon RDS single DB T2 micro instance, DB T3 micro instances, all are up to 750 hours free, and that is MySQL, MariaDB, and Postgre database each month. So we can use the databases free by using this only these instance classes, only these instance classes. Okay, and they're providing single AZ, single availability zone, and 20 GB of SSD, general purpose SSD type storage is free, and 20 GB of storage, automated backup and snapshots of are free. So as I said, only the first 12 months, okay, after that they will keep you charging. As you know that EC2 instances also give 750 hours of free, right? Same thing also RDS instance giving, because it is going to use the EC2 instances in backend. So all this pricing after free tier, you can see the pricing of, suppose I'll go with MySQL pricing. You can go and check the pricing for single availability zone deployment, and these are the pricing per hour. Okay, for T4, T2, and T3, everything are there. So you can select whatever the size you need. Okay, this is hour basis. This is hourly basis. Or for multi-AG also, it is accordingly. Okay, go through this and you have lot more things to know, and it will be huge things if you're going to learn RDS. But now at least you know how to, where to go and how to see what are the things you need it. Now done. So what we can do here, let's go ahead and okay, let's go to the storage and let's have a look on the storage systems. And these are the storage they're providing: general purpose SSD, provisioned IOPS, and magnetic. Okay, so for general purpose, what are the things they're providing? You just go through all these documentations and all. Okay, and see, range storage for MariaDB from 1000 to 256,000 IOPS, input output per second. Range of storage 100 gigabyte to 64 gigabyte, sorry, terabyte. Okay, 100 gigabyte to 64 terabytes. So these are the storage, range of storage is being used for these particular engines. Okay, database engine. So you have to remember for your interviews and all, and not exactly interview, they're not going to ask all these things, but if you're going for any examinations, right, you should at least remember all these things. They might get asked questions on that. Okay, so that's all about this theoretical things, and I just told you how to use this one, and there are lots of things in the documentations you can find if you're going to do mastery on the RDS services. Okay, going to mastery on RDS services. Fine, that's all about this theoretical part of the basic RDS concepts and all. So in tomorrow classes we'll learn about this multi-AG and all, multi-AG and read replica, how we can create it. But today let me show you how we can create the RDS with different backup options, and how we can use the and access the database. Okay, so just search for RDS and you will see
managed relational database service. Click on this. And also we have this migrations of database from on-premises to cloud, that also will learn. Okay, that also will learn. So what you'll see here, DB instances, you can see here in the database what it says. We have DB instance that's giving actually 20 for Mumbai region. They're giving actually 20, and out of 20, I don't have any instances created. Allocated storage 100 terabyte. I have not used any terabyte of any storage data. And here DB cluster 100, 100, 100, and all event subscriptions 100. All these things you can see here, and default network, default VPC is being used for that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and create the database. So what it says before creating this, let's say Amazon Aurora is a MySQL and Postgres compatible enterprise class database starting less than $1 per day. Aurora supports 128 terabyte of auto scaling storage capacity. So they are promoting their database to use. Okay, they're promoting to use Amazon Aurora. That's why they're just giving a message and advertise over here. Now let's go ahead and create database also. Whenever we create this database, you can see here we have different type of creation method: standard create and easy creation. So standard is you have to set off all these details, and easy creation is everything will be the template will be created, and you have to just simply do that one. Okay, what use recommended best practice configuration. Some configuration options can be changed after the database is created. I don't want to use this easy one. Let's go with the standard one. Select manually what we have to do it. Okay, now you can see the engine options. As we see here, we have 6 type of engines that are providing. So Amazon Aurora is by default being selected as their own database. So they selected the default one. Suppose I want to use MySQL. Let me select MySQL database. Okay, and here the version of the SQL database you want to use. Okay, I'll use suppose 5.7. Let's use 5.7.37. What it says, MySQL engine versions earlier than don't support the newest this classes generation instance. I don't need, because I need only T2 free ranges. Okay, so the templates here it is providing if you are going for production based development environment, for which requirement do you need, whether you are getting RDS for your production environment or for development and testing, or for free tier if you're going for a kind of R&D and all, for study for your own purposes, you can go for free tier. So production is default for high availability and fast consistent performance. I don't want, because it will charge me more. Development, this instance is intended for development use outside of our production environment. And this free tier is to develop new application, test existing application, whatever is free tier. Let's select this free tier. Okay, and setting, just provide a DB instance identifier. This is the DB instance name, and based on your application, based on your company policy, and based on your things, you have to provide a switchable identifier name, and that identifier will be used across all your applications. Okay, suppose I'll give as MyDB. This is MyDB instance identifier. Okay, MyDB, and the username should be given as per your things. So here default is given admin, and if you want to generate auto-generated password, you can select it, or you can just provide the password here. Okay, suppose I'll just use for the demo. Suppose I use same admin, let it be there. Okay, or I can see as DB admin. Okay, let's check, give a password for this. So what it says, at least consider at least 8 printable ASCII characters. So mine is not Good. So I need at least 8 characters. Okay. I'll give good.
Couple, this will be fine. Yeah. So, and here instance configurations. So you have to use like burstable classes include T classes. So I always like to go with feature. So we have this DB2 micro, we have DB3 micro. DB2 micro is having one virtual CPU, 1 GB of RAM. Okay, not EVS optimized. If you're going with T3 micro feature, we have this EVS optimized and network to 0.85 Mbps, right, per second. So that is what about this. So let's select the default one, suppose T3 micro. I'm selecting it. Now storage type. So I'll go with general purpose, and allocated storage is 20 GB. Minimum is 20 GB. We cannot decrease it. It gives minimum 20 GB, and maximum we can give up to 6,144 gigabytes. Okay, and what it says, higher allocated storage can improve IOPS performance. Storage auto scaling, enable storage auto scaling. If you want to automatically increase the storages, you can just select it or remove it, let it be there. In this case, maximum storage threshold, I have given 1000 gigabytes. Okay, so maximum up to, it can increase up to 1000 gigabyte. As I have selected it here, it will automatically gives up. Okay, now let me select it. As this auto scaling, automatically the database will be. So you'll be asking, many of you might be asked, thinking like how the auto scaling might be work in the database things, right? As we are going to use this RDS services, the auto scaling also will be taken care, managed by the AWS. Okay, we'll select. Right, so for the auto scaling things, we had set up as server based, right? Server like server resources. Now this is the database storage auto scaling, where if you are going to use the RDS database, it will automatically, the storage auto scaling will be activated, and based on the threshold you set off, it will increase and decrease. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you want to increase it, you can just increase up to, suppose I want 5,000, you can give 5,000 over here. Okay, and suppose I don't want any auto scaling, leave it. Unnecessary, I'll pay something extra. Now, what I need, availability and durability. As I am into free tier, it does not give me multi-AZ deployment functionality. Okay, this option is disabled for me because I selected free tier option. If I select production one, then it will be activated. Okay, so what it says, create a standby instance recommended for production usage, because disaster, whenever we use this multi-AZ deployment, so we'll activate the disaster recovery plan, and it will create a standby instance in case of any disaster happen to the primary DB instance or primary database. The secondary or disaster database will be ready for the usage. Okay, so this will be available for production classes. That is simple things, right? Everyone knows, right? For disaster only we do for productions. There will be no disaster things happen for development, and we don't set up because that is costly and cost effective, right? We cannot go any thing or disaster and plan for development, testing, or any R&D platform. Now, what it says, compute resources, right? So don't connect to an EC2 compute resource. What says? Do not set up a connection to a compute resource for this database. You can manually set up a connection to a compute resource later. And if you want to select connect, then you have to select the instances. Choose the EC2 instance which you want to connect from there. So as we don't have any EC2 instances running and available, so we don't have, so what it says, no EC2 instances exist. If you want to create, you can go ahead and create. So I'll not connect to the EC2 instances, and I'll show you manually how to connect it. Okay. Network type, I'll go with IPv4. This is dual stack mode, is your resources can communicate over IPv4, IPv6, or both. So what I can do here, IPv4, okay, your resources can communicate only over IPv4 address protocol, let it be there. And if you want for both IPv4 and IPv6, then you can go for dual stack mode. Okay. And the virtual private cloud, I'm using the default one. So if you want to use your new BPC, custom BPC, then you can go ahead and select your custom BPC. So in our custom BPC classes, once we complete our BPC, it will take 3 to 4 classes alone for BPC, because we are going to learn lots of networking concept over there. So once we complete this custom BPC, maybe you can use that custom BPC in order to access any services. Okay. So remember, custom BPC things, actually we don't use default BPC in our organization or companies. Mostly we create our own network, own infrastructure, network infrastructure to use the services and resources. Okay. The next one is the DB subnet group. What is this? This subnet group defines which subnet and IP ranges the DB instance can use the VPC. So public access, RDS assigning a public IP address to the database, Amazon EC2 instance and other resources outside the VPC can connect your database. RDS does not assign public IP, only Amazon EC2 instance, other resources inside VPC can connect your database. Okay, and I want the public access to show you how we can access the connectivity. Okay, now let's select the sub default one and let's get access so that we can connect to the database from outside, and I'll show you how we can use the databases. Now VPC security group, that firewall, that is you have to provide as must choose existing firewall. So suppose I'll go for LAMP. Let's go with LAMP SC. And because see, MySQL, the port you should whitelist okay, default and LAMP SC. So default port of MySQL is 3306. Okay, and that 3306 should get whitelisted. Now availability zone, I don't need any availability zone, so no preference, automatically it will choose one. Let's go with additional configuration. See, the database port by default is 3306. Okay, so that this port needs to be whitelisted. Now database authentication, and you have to either you can go with password and IAM database authentication and password and Kerberos authentication. This is kind of different mechanism where you can use this Kerberation encryptions and encrypted way to authenticate the database instances, and you can use IAM roles and IAM users to access the database. So what I'll do here, I'll just choose authenticate using database passwords. Okay, authenticate using database passwords. So if you want to monitor those things, you can just use enable enhanced monitoring and all. You can go ahead and select it. Additional configurations, if you go here, initial database name, if you want to, okay, this is to provide your database name. So if you don't provide anything, what it says, if you don't provide any database name, then it will not create a database. So this is some additional configuration if you want to create the database name, and you have to create. Suppose in our case, the DB instance identifier is given as my DB. DB instance identifier is my DB. Now let's create the database also. Okay, let's create a database. So I'll just create the database as my database. I gave this my database. Okay, now DB parameter, as we are using 5.7 version, let it be there. And backup things. So here it comes the backup, whether you want automated backup or want. So you can just select enable automated backup. By default, it comes. But not, you can, if you don't want automatic backup, so it will not be done. So if you want, select it. So what it says, creates a point in time snapshot for your database, automatically takes. Please note that automated backups are currently supported for InnoDB storage engine only. If you using MyISM, refer to the details here. Okay, so InnoDB, MySQL mostly uses InnoDB engine. Okay, InnoDB storage sections. So here is the retention period. As I said, the maximum is 35 days. So you can see here 1 to 35 days. You may get questions. So what is the retention period of your backup? So maximum you can retain up to 35 days. After 35 days, it will be deleted. The backups will be deleted. Okay. So default, that's 7. So backup window, we have to choose the window. What exactly, what date you want to start the backups. So you have to do that. I don't need anything. And enable encryptions. If you want KMS encryptions and all, you can just enable it all. Okay, and this maintenance period, enable auto minor upgradations environment. Okay, so here is the monthly cost. Here is the monthly cost. So if you see here, what will be the estimated monthly cost? As I said, it is 12 months free, and it gives up to 20 GB free, right? 20 GB free general purpose SSD. The Amazon RDS free tier is available to you for 12 months of free, and you can use DB-T2 micro, DB-T3 micro, or DB-T4G micro. These instances comes under free tier. Okay, and these are the things before you are going to know. Now, I don't need this backup, so you understood what exactly the backups is mean for. Okay, here is the log exports. If you want to select the log types to be published on Amazon CloudWatch, if you are going to connect the log exports to your CloudWatch, you can just either select error log, audit log, or general logs, anything. So you can select it. Okay. So I don't need to enable this automated backup. I closed it here. Sorry. So what I can do now, let's go ahead and create database. And remember, database creation will take a couple of time, maybe a couple of seconds or minutes to just create it. Okay. So it's still creating. Just hold on, guys. It will take some time to get created.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yeah, Jyoti. Yeah.
So suppose our web application is in EC2 instance. Means our web application, like we have to take our employee data.
Yes.
That means when we will enter some like employee ID, employee name, employee address, it's automatically saved to our database, or how
Yes.
it works, sir?
Yeah, it will be automatically saved to our database. Okay, it will be automatically. So I'll do a demo on this. Okay, see, today I'll show you manually how we can connect to the database, and tomorrow classes will see how we can connect this database to our API or to an application. We'll create. I have a demo to show you all this. How we can connect by using different technologies. Like I'll use PHP to connect the databases. I'll show you how we can do. We can insert data from the application. We can delete data. We can fetch data. Everything we can do it from the application. Even though application will be in the EC2 instances, no matter. Because using the RDS endpoint, we need to access the database. Okay.
So suppose we will save one employee data. The data save up to 35 days, or
No. You are getting it wrong.
Oh.
So the 35 days is the automated backup retention policy. Means the backup, whatever is being taken, it will stay there up to 35 days.
Okay, sir.
But the data is whatever you store, it will be there until unless you delete it. Okay, the data will be there as long as the period you want.
Sir, Netflix, I think use AWS.
Yes.
Yeah. Suppose means in Netflix, one movie is saved. Means it's saved in S3 pocket or in database.
That actually see. That's why if they are storing, first thing is actually whenever they're designing the things, right? If you're using the database, both are the for storage classes, right? S3 is also storage system where you can store the object-based database, either a movie file or image file or anything, or in the database also you can store image file, movie file, everything, right? The thing is, I'm not sure what exactly they are using, but I would suggest to use the S3 than the RDS thing, because S3 provides is very faster. See, whatever you put it right in your S3 database, everything will be faster retrieval and can be used everywhere. So what technology and what mechanic and what techniques they are using, I'm not sure about this Netflix, but see, as S3, right, as much as storage it provides, you can just go ahead and create it. Why I think they will be using S3? Because see, S3 provide, as I said, S3 provide different storage classes, right? We have infrequently access. If you remember that one storage called infrequently access storage class, where the movies which are less frequently being watched by people, by the audience, so they will keep those things in the infrequently access, so that what will happen, they will at least save the cost of storage classes, right? If they're using the RDS, what they can do, they will just put everything in the RDS storage classes and they will be paying for that, even though the movie is being watched or not. There will be movies which being watched very less time. They at least can put in the different storage classes when S3 and they can use it. And which are already outdated, nobody using that superflow movies, some people are not be using, but still they want to keep it. They can at least put it in some glacier or some cold storage, so that they can save some cost, right? That is what. Okay, Jyoti.
Yes, sir. Sir, means RDS means we can also save our image file or video file also.
Yes. So in database also you can store your. So not only in the RDS. So what is RDS? It's just a relational database service being provided by AWS. In common, if you think, so if you are using any Oracle database, if you are using any MySQL database on your laptop, on your on-premises server, in your virtual machine, you can still store the database movie image file, right? You can still store the documentation, everything, right?
I think, sir, means it's only save row and column wise. I think actually.
I'm telling about the names only. You cannot store the exact movie file and all. So you can store there, but the storage classes there will be see. Whenever you see the RDS, as I said, it provides the same amount of storage. I'm not telling, see, the records and tables will hold the name of the movie or name of the image file, but that will be stored under the storage being provided. So 10 GB of, as I said in the beginning, right? If you go to the slides, as I said in the beginning, it provides 10 GB of, okay, what is that? It provides 10, suppose you are using 10 GB of data storage, then it will providing 10 GB of storage free, right? That is what I was telling, right? What is that? Yeah. So if you are using RDS of 10 GB, then you'll get 10 GB of storage. That means, so your data and the records will be added in the row and column wise in the database, but the same movie, suppose you are going to store in the 10 GB of storage, right? That is, if you are going to use 1000 GB of DB instance, and your storage you are going to get it 1000 GB of free. But mostly we'll not go with 1000 GB of storage databases. Suppose we'll go with 100 GB of databases, and I will keep all the records in the database, but the storage I can use it at different storage classes. Okay, I can use S3 behind. I can use different block storage. I can use different cloud provider also. But the database links will be there. So that way you can put it. So in obviously in a table we cannot store a movie file, right? We cannot store an image. We can store the name, and behind the storage whatever it provides, we can store the data there. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So that's all about this. Okay. Now what we can see here, our thing, it will be available. Now our databases are available. The status is now available. What I can do here, if I click on this DB instances, see, this is the end point. This is the end point. By using this, we can connect our database, and this is the unique one. Okay, and you can see here the endpoint is the MyDB and the specific unique account name and the region of up south 1 RDS animation. This is the instance identifier. Okay, if I go here, see DB instance identifier there. So, and the CPU and all these things being not used here. Current activity 0 connection, nobody has connected. DB classes, region, and everything is there. And these are the connectivity details, availability zone, and all these subnets being there. Okay. So monitoring logs event, we'll see it later on this. Maintenance and backup, whatever we have set up is there. As we have not selected any backup, maintenance is enabled, but backup was not enabled. I have not enabled the backup. As we discussed, snapshot can be taken manually, so we cannot automate the snapshot thing. So if you want to take a snapshot of your DB instance, you can just click on the snapshot and we can take it. So let's first create and insert some data into that, and then we'll let me just show you how you can connect the databases. Okay, let me show you how we can connect the databases. So there will be a link I have given how to connect. Okay, so here will be connection of the databases. Okay, so how you will connect to the databases? You have to use MySQL. This is for MySQL engine, and -h, where you provide the endpoint, and then you have to provide the port number, and then username and -p. So what happened? The username, you have to first set up the username to connect the database. So let's go ahead and create user to connect the database. Okay, now let's go ahead. Here you can see here I have 1 instances created. Go ahead. Go to actions. We can do whatever you want here, stop temporarily, reboot, delete, take snapshot and all. Let's go ahead and modify it. So we selected there somewhere by using the password authentication. Okay, authenticate using the database password. We had selected while giving the password. I did not tell you the password, right? I created the name as, what was the DB admin I had given, right? Okay, leave it. So I had given, I remember the password now. DB admin I had given, and the password I had given. I forgot the password. What I have given. Okay. Fine. Let me just try that options. I should have tell you the password when I gave it. That's fine. So what I can do, let me connect to one of the EC2 instance. Okay. Let me connect to the one of the EC2 instance. From there, I'll show you how to connect that one. Okay. Okay. First, let me try. Let it run the LAMP service first. Let it run the server, but I'll try to connect from my MacBook. Okay, from my local machine. So let it start. Let's connect my local machine here. So what do we need? Let's see whether MySQL is installed it here or not. MySQL command not found. So it's locally MySQL is not installed on my machine. So we cannot do then. What I can do, let's the EC2 instance start. Here MySQL is installed. Okay. Remember, if you're going to use the MySQL, you should use the MySQL. First, you have to install the MySQL. Then you can use the command MySQL CLI to connect the database. So today I'm showing you how to connect the database through MySQL CLI. And tomorrow classes, I already have one API available or one application available. I'll tell you how we can use the RDS endpoint in our application to access the database. Okay, so development team, you have to provide the RDS endpoint to set up those things in our APIs or applications. That things I'll show you. Okay. Now what we can do here, just wait for this. Yeah, okay, and it is what server it is. situ-user. Okay, so I connected now, and here MySQL is installed. I think yes, it is installed. So let me exit out here. So I need to connect to the RDS endpoint. So how I will connect it here? So as I showed you the command, it is MySQL and -h. Provide the host name, right? You have to provide the DNS. You have to provide the RDS endpoint. So go to the RDS part here, okay, and get the RDS endpoint. I'll quickly show you because the time is going to be more now. I'll quickly show you how to connect that one, and then the insertion and creating schema and all these things, and tomorrow classes I'll show you. Okay, let's go to the instance. Select the endpoint here, copy it, okay, and paste it here, and you have to provide the port number -p is 3306. Okay, this is the port we are going to connect, and you have to provide the user. So I think I had given us db admin, and you have to provide the password. So I'm not typing the password here. If you want to type the password, then simply type the password and hit enter. It will automatically connect. Okay, it will automatically connect. If you don't want to type the password here, just hit enter. It will ask for the password. Okay, and I think I had given. Wow, connected. Good. So what happened? We just connected to the server. See, I connected to the, I gave the host name here. So I think the password, whatever I gave is correct. Okay. So I just entered the password of, if you do see -p, and just you have to put the password. If you don't want get this prompt here, simply give the password here and it will get it. Remember, MySQL -h host name, you have to provide the RDS endpoint. -p, you have to pass the port number. Okay, and -u, the user name. In my case, this is db admin. And -p, you have to provide the password. Okay,
So you can see here we are connected to the database, and if I see here, so databases, see, these are the databases, default databases, my database. If you remember, I had, while creating the RDS, I had created my database, right? So if I go here and go to the database section, we'll find it our database, right? Monitoring, nothing is there. Maintenance, okay. So here DB name is my database. So you can see here, I can manually connect to the database, and you can see here, we have this my database. So how you'll use this database? You can use my database, use my database. So here you can see none means we are not connected to any database, and these are the databases available. Okay. Now hit enter, and you can see here it is changed to my database. Now I am into this my database. Okay. Now if I show tables, nothing is there because no tables are created. Okay, so that's all for today, and tomorrow classes we'll just create a small schema. We'll try to enter some data and see how it works. Also, we'll see how we can connect this RDS endpoint. Okay, RDS endpoint to access through APIs and through applications. Also, we'll see the advanced topics about the multi-edge disaster recovery. Also, how to create this replica, read replica for faster performance. Also, we'll see how we can migrate the on-premises database to our cloud system by using the database migration system. Okay, KMS. Sorry, DBMS, the database migration system. We can use it. Okay, DMS. So how we can use that and to do that. So that's all, guys, for today, and tomorrow classes we'll do the further demo and further topics. We'll try to cover it in tomorrow classes. Okay, if you have doubt, anything we can discuss, or we can wind up this call and we'll connect tomorrow same time. Thank you, guys. See you.
Thank you, Ranjit.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.